Love the comeback there for Chuck. It's kind of like it's the spring of success for Arkansas athletics, for men's basketball, women's basketball, track, for soccer, for baseball, for softball. And we're talking right now with Courtney Deifel, head coach of Arkansas softball, hosting the Super Regional Friday against the Arizona Wildcats. Coach Deifel, I appreciate you joining us and giving us some of your time at this exciting moment in your program. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely.
It's an exciting week.
It sure has. So, I mean, along that theme, it's 2 days before the Super, and there's an incredible amount of energy that's built up when you're playing in a Super Regional, especially at home. So, So how do you contain that energy and that excitement amongst your team in the lead up to when you got to make sure you got it ready to go for the game on Friday?
Well, I think it's important for them to feel that a lot because they've earned it. And then it's just getting back to making sure, we've been so business-like all year, and so it's just getting them back to that and just really focusing on what we need to do to prepare for Arizona and knowing that there is a ton of excitement and this buzz around our program. I thought that our crowd was incredible this past weekend. I'm expecting it to be even bigger and louder this weekend, and I know that's something that fuels our team. So it's having a balance of enjoying it, but still remembering that there's a lot of work to do for the goals that we have set.
Yeah, you want to enjoy the moment and experience it for what it is. And I'm sure that you reach into your experience too as a player at the same time. I wonder though, in this lead up compared to the last time that you guys were in the Super Regional when you traveled to Oklahoma, what is there a different feeling with this Super Regional because it's home? Or does it feel kind of the same in a build up just because you have a chance to play to go to the Women's College World Series?
Well, I definitely think it feels different. I think the last time when it's your first time experiencing that, sometimes you can get a little big-eyed. Sometimes you can make it a little bigger than it is. Although we were expecting it, it's still that it's that first that you just kind of have a little bit more nerves for. Going through this past weekend, it was a full expectation for us to get through that weekend and get to a Super. And I think our girls have their sights set beyond that. And I think it's, understanding what it feels like to be in that Super. I think it's going to be incredible that it's home and earning that and having that familiarity and having your home crowd and all of those things. But I think this team is definitely more ready for it, both on the field and just mentally and with their approach. So I'm just really excited to see them in action this weekend. And I'm really excited we get another week at least to coach them. This is an awesome group, and they've just been a blast all year.
Coach Courtney Deifel joining us here on Halftime. Coach, I've talked to you previously when we got you on the Morning Rush, and I mentioned that I've got a connection with one of your freshmen, Hannah Gamble, and I'm biased because she's my favorite Razorback. But, Coach, she has been absolutely outstanding for you this season, floating around the lineup, batting in the leadoff spot and batting cleanup for a couple times, but providing that power bat that you that you need in any lineup, all while recovering from that hand injury she suffered at UCA. She's been a big key piece for you guys all season long, and knowing her personally, I couldn't be more proud of this girl, and I know you could probably say the same thing.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I don't have enough great things to say about Hannah and what she's done this year. I'm just so impressed by how she's handled all of it, and it's not because I didn't expect her to. I absolutely expected her to. I just feel like she has exceeded all of our expectations. She plays beyond her years, and I just give her a ton of credit because, with that hand injury and just, finding a way to grind and keep her mind in the right place and be ready to go. And when she got back, and she didn't skip a beat. No. And it doesn't matter where we put her. She handles it. She doesn't make it bigger than it is. And for someone like her as a freshman to do that, it's just really, really impressive. And she has been so huge for us all year.
It's going to be fun.
And she's just fun. I mean, I know you know her, but she is such a fun personality. She is, one of my boys' favorites just because she is just so bubbly and goofy and an intense competitor, but she just has such a great balance all of that.
Yeah, you're not going to find a better student athlete anywhere than her.
No.
I'm just watching her grow through high school and see what she's doing now. It's going to be fun to watch her grow and be a centerpiece for your program moving forward in the years to come.
Definitely.
When you look at Arizona coming up in the Super Regional this weekend, there's going to be a great matchup. Tell us a little bit about the Wildcats and some of the keys for the Razorbacks to try to win the Super Regional and advance to the Women's College World Series.
Well, I think it's going to be a really exciting matchup. I have a ton of respect for Mike Andre. I think he's the best and one of the best to ever do it. And he's such a legend in our game. His teams are always really, really well coached and really well prepared and really balanced. And that's this year's team's no different. They swing it big. They have some really great, fast, skilled slappers, and they play great defense. Their pitching is. They rely more on their staff, so we know that we're going to see the three arms that they use a ton, and we're going to have to make quick adjustments. But it's going to be a fun matchup, and we know we're in for a battle.
Coach Deifel, I know you have to take a lot of pride in what you're seeing as an explosion of popularity of your program across the state. They will support a winner, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. I wonder now. You're from California. I'm not from Arkansas either. I've been here for 20 years. What's your first memory of Arkansas? What can you tell me first when you first came here the first time?
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, well, the first time I came here, I just saw the investment and the commitment from the department. And then shortly after I got the job was right when the baseball team had a big super regional run and World Series run. And I was able to, on TV, see this fan base for the very first time. And it's incredible. I think it's unmatched by anything in the country, especially from being from California, where this type of thing does not exist. It does not exist. And so, that's something that as a program with our team, we sat down and it's like, that's something that we absolutely set as a goal, is to win over our fan base and get them in Bogle. And they have showed up for us big time. And they're a difference maker. I can't wait to see them roll into Bogle this weekend, because they were absolutely electric last weekend.
You're someone that played the game at a very high level, both in college and professionally, and you've won championships at both levels too. Your 2003 Cal Bears were national champions. I want to know, what would you say was the defining characteristic of that team? And do you see any comparisons between 2003 Cal and 2021 Arkansas?
Oh, yeah. I see a ton of comparisons, actually. That team that won the national championship was just feisty. They were just feisty. And we didn't need the approval of anyone else. We went into that national championship game, actually, against Arizona in Jenny Finch's senior year. She's one of the biggest names in our sport. And I just remember us walking in, and there were like Super Finch and Arizona everywhere. And we walked into that game going, wow, no one thinks we're going to win this except us. And this is going to be pretty cool to prove everybody wrong. And, this team has played with a chip on their shoulder all year of just feeling like they've been overlooked, feeling like they weren't really getting the recognition that they deserved, not needing it, but also feeling like they didn't get it, when they deserved it. And this team absolutely resembles that team. They are incredibly feisty. They have a ton of fight for each other, and they just live in the moment. They live in the moment. They compete in the moment. And I think that's a really special trait of a special team, is a team that doesn't get ahead of themselves. They don't get bogged down by anything that happened in the past. And they just really focus on the moment and competing together. I see a huge resemblance, and I think it could be a really exciting postseason.
Feisty's good. Feisty's really good.
Yeah.
So the next thing I wanted to touch on here, you come from a bat and ball background. Your dad's a baseball coach.
Yeah.
Your older sister won a national title at Fresno State. She is a head coach at UMSL in St. Louis. But the thing I find interesting about this is, so I grew up as a catcher, and I think that was by design by my father, because he's a pitcher. He wanted to battery mate. So I wonder if your dad did the same thing, because your sister's a pitcher, you're a catcher. Was this by design?
It would make a really good story if it was. But no, I actually grew up pitching, and then I always say I came to my senses and went behind the ball. But my dad was a catcher. My sister and I both grew up pitching, and then it just wasn't for me. I think it also helped too that when we started throwing a little harder, and my mom didn't catch us anymore. My dad didn't really want to. We caught each other. But it was always just, I was the younger one on trying to play with the older girls, and no one wanted to catch, and I just wanted to play. And so I didn't care what I had to do to get on the field, and then it just kind of took to it, and it was a much better fit for me. So it would be really cool if it was just like, oh, we created the battery, but it kind of just worked out that way.
Yeah, but it takes a special person to just like put that gear on and say, you know what, I fit here, because not everybody fits at that position. But you know who does fit are catchers, become managers in professional baseball, become head coaches in baseball. Is this the same thing in softball? Because it makes so much sense for catchers who view the game from the only perspective looking out at the field would become head coaches. Does that make sense in softball? Is that also the case?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think if you're doing your job as a catcher, you are managing the game. You are an extension of your coaches out there and running your defense and knowing what makes each player on your team, all your teammates tick, what buttons to push, how to get the best out of them. That's what a catcher should do if you're doing your job. And I was fortunate enough to play for coaches that let me go and let me do that. I got to call pitches. I got to run defenses. And so, absolutely. I think it's all about building relationships and having your team trust you and earning their trust and then working together to win together. So I do absolutely agree. That's why catchers make such great coaches and leaders, if they're doing their job the way they should, for sure.
No, I read Paul Boyd's profile of you a month ago in the Democrat. He did a really great job with it. And I see where you said you didn't even plan to get into coaching. When you took your first job at Oklahoma, it was just to get a master's degree. So you get this master's degree in human relations, but I bet that degree and the lessons you learned from it have to be part of your philosophy is how to be a head coach.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think I've been very, very fortunate to work under some really bright women. I've actually only worked for women, and I've learned so much, and they've shaped me into the coach that I am. And so I think that just the experiences and everything that you go through and you kind of figure out, what you do, what you wouldn't do, what works for you, and how to authentically be your best self for them. But I've been really fortunate in my career path. And, it all started at Oklahoma when I didn't really want to coach. And Patty just said, you should just promise me you'll stay open to it. And I love it. I'm a lifer.
Well, we thank her for that. It's good that she convinced you.
Absolutely. A couple more minutes here with you, Coach, before we let you go. Wanted to get your thoughts also. Recruiting in the state of Arkansas with softball. Seems like our high school softball here in the state between the public schools, private schools, and then you add in travel ball. High school softball in the state of Arkansas is really starting the uptick, which has to be great news for you to try to recruit some of these in-state kids, like a Hannah Gamble, for example.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think the sport keeps growing in general. So I think you're looking at, even through this postseason, you're seeing how strong programs are across the country. And I think Arkansas is definitely in line with that. I think it just keeps getting better and better every year. And it's really special to get to keep your in-state talent home. And when you look at our roster, and we have Braxton, and we have Keeley, and we have Hannah Gamble, and we have Callie Kildow and Caitlin Howard, and the list goes on and on. We have Sydney Parr, and just, when you have those hometown, that home state athlete, it means more to them. And they know how special it is to be an Arkansas Razorback. And it's been great to keep those student athletes home for sure.
Well, we can hear that pride in your voice there about your team and about the sport and about the state. And we appreciate it too. And again, as someone who comes from who was born and raised in the outside of the state and right now can't imagine living anywhere else, I think I appreciate your perspective. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really, really special place, and I too can't imagine living anywhere else. So we love it.
Coach Deifel, good luck. We're so proud of what you guys have already accomplished. Good luck against Arizona. We hope to see you in Oklahoma City.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
All right.
You're welcome. And we would tell our listeners to go support them, but I think you kind of already are. The tickets are sold out. This is now the talk of Arkansas, I think, and as far as athletics are concerned this week. So let's make this thing happen. Arkansas versus Arizona, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let's get both bat and ball teams into the College World Series. I think it's going to be a really memorable June for the bat and ball sports across our lovely state. 877-377-6963. Are they bat and ball sports or are they diamond sports? Which way do you go with that? I like the bat and ball aspect of it. It's not
more
cricket.
of a rhombus. Oh, no,
Nice.
diamond, come on.
The only time anyone's ever said rhombus on this show. We're right back.